We now return to our special report, Nebraska v. Colorado, the war on weed.
In its first year, Colorado's pot industry racked up more than $700 million in revenue. A 10% sales tax and other fees added $76 million to Colorado's treasury. Even so, lawmakers were forecasting much higher numbers. You yourself really don't partake in marijuana that often.
No, I don't.
Some people will be surprised by that, I think. You're the medicine man.
Yeah, I'm the medicine man. I should be doing marijuana. It's like living in Colorado and not skiing, right? I don't do either. And I do a little bit recreationally a few times a year, but it's really at a minimum.
Situated inside a Denver industrial park,
we organize them in here by how long they take to flower.
Andy Williams showed us his operation as a way to not only defend his industry, but educate the public. He's aware Nebraska is debating the merits of medical marijuana, something Colorado started more than a decade ago. Nebraska doesn't have medical marijuana.
Yeah, and it's a shame. You know, I hear miracle stories all the time.
Buddy.
And so does the Bellevue, Nebraska family of Will Gillen.
We call him God's Will. That's what we've nicknamed him. And Will doesn't talk. He's never spoken a word. He's in diapers. He is at the cognitive level at about a probably 18-month-old, 2-year-old. He has had over his 12 years, almost 12 and a half years, literally thousands of seizures, probably more than that, probably tens of thousands, to be honest with you.
Love you.
Will's parents believe medical cannabis could help with his epileptic seizures. Seizures that turn so violent, he must wear a helmet to keep from injuring himself. The Gillens are reluctant to leave Nebraska for Colorado or one of the other 23 states with medical marijuana laws. It's why they want to change policy here.
We feel like we're Nebraskans. We've always been Nebraskans. We feel like it's our right to live here, and we shouldn't have to become medical refugees to go to another state to get a treatment that is working.
While acknowledging medical marijuana carries some health benefits to a small percentage of the population, Nebraska's Attorney General believes the negatives outweigh the positives. He calls it a slippery slope where the potential for abuse is great.
The first way you step into this industry is you don't immediately go to a state and say, let's go to recreational use. You do a medical marijuana statute and you bring out some very, very sympathetic stories to get people to loosen their guard.
It makes me angry that we can't look at the value, at the possible good things that can happen from this treatment option. I think they hear the word marijuana and they immediately turn it off, and they don't want to look at it, see the fact that there's a definite difference between medicinal cannabis and recreational. I think they have this idea of the slippery slope, and it's an idea that I don't agree with. I think every step along the way, the legislature has the opportunity to say no.
And while this 7th grader will never understand the debate, he heads off to school like any other day.
As the advocates for him, my wife and I trying to be his voice to give us the opportunity to do something with our son that may have positive benefits for him and may increase and help his quality of life. That's all we're asking for.
Western Nebraska law enforcement is poised to take on marijuana from every angle, from medical marijuana to the border enforcement of Colorado. Some lawmakers have gone at it another way, considering easing the penalty of pot possession as a way to lighten the load on an overtaxed system. Right now, for first offense possession of less than an ounce of marijuana in Nebraska is like a speeding ticket and a $300 fine.
Become convinced that those in the unicameral want to utilize the overcrowding in the Nebraska correction system as an excuse to try to say, well, we need to just kind of ease up on these things.
Short of getting Colorado to stop the sales of recreational marijuana altogether, what is Nebraska's endgame? For those patrolling the Nebraska border, cooperation with Colorado would be a start.
What can we do together to limit our problem? Help you enforce your state laws, you help us enforce our state laws. You know, the voters of Colorado decided what happened in Colorado. They didn't decide what happened in Nebraska.
I do think we're at a critical time.
For the state's lead investigator, it's patience, asking Nebraska decision makers at the very least to slow down the change machine.
Please wait 3 to 5 years and study Colorado. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to come up and say that this doesn't have great social cost. But the fact of the matter is you've got to wait and see what Colorado's doing.
Both sides believe they will be on the right side of history.
I can name any number of other things that people at the time that thought the status quo was going to be win out over time, and guess what? They were proved wrong too.
For now, what's legal where I'm standing here in Colorado remains illegal just a few feet away in Nebraska. And with Alaska and Washington, D.C., and soon Oregon joining the list of states allowing recreational use of marijuana, things will only be heightened along border states to come. And the Nebraska Attorney General believes it's a costly social experiment that needs to end. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Brian Masser reporting from the Nebraska-Colorado border.